I never thought a simple favor would completely unravel everything I thought I knew about myself and about Jake. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, from that ordinary Tuesday afternoon when everything changed. I'd been working at the advertising firm for about 8 months when Jake transferred to our department. He was one of those guys who just had this presence, not in an intimidating way, but in that effortlessly magnetic way that made everyone want to be around him. Tall, with these broad shoulders that filled out his button-downs perfectly, dark hair that was always slightly messy in that intentional-looking way, and this smile that could light up the entire office. And straight. Very, very straight. Or at least that's what I told myself every time I caught myself staring a little too long. We became friends quickly. Work friends at first, grabbing coffee together during breaks, collaborating on projects, staying late to meet deadlines while sharing takeout and complaining about our boss. Then it evolved into real friendship. Weekend hangouts, watching games at sports bars, hiking on Sunday mornings. He'd talk about girls he was dating, and I'd listen and offer advice, carefully keeping my own romantic life vague and non-existent. It was easier that way, safer. Jake had this thing about self-improvement. He was always trying to learn new skills, picking up hobbies, pushing himself to be better. One month it was learning Spanish, the next it was cooking techniques, then photography. It was actually kind of endearing, this constant drive to grow. So when he mentioned he'd signed up for a massage therapy course, I didn't think much of it. "It's just something different," he said one day as we were walking back from lunch. "My mom's been dealing with chronic back pain for years, and I thought maybe I could learn how to help her. Plus, who knows, could be a useful skill to have." "That's really thoughtful," I said, and I meant it. That was Jake, always thinking about others. "The only problem is we need to practice on real people, not just the training dummies," he continued, running his hand through his hair in that way he did when he was thinking. "We're supposed to log practice hours, and I don't really want to ask my family. That would be weird." I laughed. "Yeah, practicing massage on your mom might defeat the purpose of learning it for her." "Exactly." He paused, and I could feel him looking at me as we walked. "Actually, I was wondering if maybe you'd let me practice on you sometime. I know it's a weird ask, but you're one of my closest friends, and I figure you'd be honest about whether I'm doing it right or completely butchering it." My heart did this strange stuttering thing in my chest. The thought of Jake's hands on me, even in a completely innocent clinical context, sent a wave of heat through my body that I desperately tried to suppress. This was exactly the kind of situation I'd spent months carefully avoiding. I don't know," I stammered, trying to sound casual and failing miserably. "I'm not really a massage person." "Come on, man. Everyone likes massages. When's the last time you had one?" "Never, actually." He stopped walking, turning to face me with those earnest brown eyes. "Never? Dude, you're missing out. Look, I promise I won't be weird about it. It's completely professional. I just need someone who'll tell me if I'm applying too much pressure or missing the right muscle groups. You'd actually be helping me out." And there it was. The thing about Jake was that he had this way of making you feel like saying yes to him was the most natural thing in the world. Plus, he was right. It was professional. He was learning a legitimate skill, and I was his friend. Surely I could handle an hour or so without making it weird. The weirdness was all in my head, right? "Okay," I heard myself say. "Yeah, sure, I can help you practice." His face broke into that devastating smile. "Really? Man, thank you. You're a lifesaver. How about this weekend, Saturday afternoon? We could do it at my place since I have the massage table set up there." Saturday. His place. A massage table. What had I just agreed to? "Sounds good," I said, my voice somehow steady despite the chaos in my mind. The rest of the week passed in a blur of anticipation and anxiety. I kept telling myself it was no big deal, that I was being ridiculous, that this was just a friend helping another friend. But every time I thought about it, my stomach did these nervous flips, and I found myself both dreading and desperately looking forward to Saturday. When Saturday finally arrived, I stood outside Jake's apartment door for a solid minute before knocking, trying to calm my racing heart. "It's just a massage. It's clinical. It's educational. You're helping him learn a skill." These mantras did absolutely nothing to settle my nerves. Jake answered the door in a fitted t-shirt and athletic shorts, barefoot, looking relaxed and casual. "Hey, come in, come in. Thanks again for doing this. You want something to drink first? Water, beer? Water's good, I said, stepping into his apartment. I'd been here dozens of times before, but today it felt different, more intimate somehow. The late afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows, casting everything in this warm, golden glow. He disappeared into the kitchen and returned with 2 bottles of water. So, I've got the table set up in the bedroom. I know that sounds weird, but it's the only place with enough space. I've been watching a bunch of tutorial videos and practicing the techniques. I think I've got the basics down, but we'll see. I'm sure you'll do fine, I said, following him down the hallway. You're pretty good at everything you try. I don't know about that, he laughed. Remember when I tried to learn guitar? That was a disaster. His bedroom was neat, organized, very Jake, and there in the middle of it was a professional-looking massage table, already set up with clean sheets and a face cradle. Soft instrumental music was playing from a speaker on his dresser. He'd actually created a whole atmosphere. Okay, so, Jake said, suddenly seeming a little nervous himself. The way this works is you'll lie face down on the table. You can keep your shorts on, but you'll want to take your shirt off. I have a towel here you can use for coverage if you want. The instructor said it's important to work directly on the skin to really feel the muscle groups and apply the right techniques. Right, shirtless, of course. That made sense. Completely professional and necessary. I nodded, trying to look nonchalant as I pulled my t-shirt over my head, hyper-aware of his presence in the room. I wasn't particularly muscular, but I kept in decent shape. Still, being half-naked in front of Jake felt vulnerable in a way I hadn't anticipated. Just lie face down and get comfortable, he said, his voice taking on this gentle, almost professional quality. Let me know if the face cradle needs adjusting. I climbed onto the table and settled into position, my face fitting into the padded cradle, my arms at my sides. The sheets were soft against my skin, and I could smell something pleasant, maybe lavender or eucalyptus. Jake had really thought this through. Comfortable? He asked. Yeah, I managed, though comfortable wasn't exactly the word I'd use for what I was feeling. Exposed, nervous, excited, terrified, all of the above. Okay, I'm going to start with your upper back and shoulders. That's where most people hold tension. I'll be using some massage oil to help with the glide. It might be a little cold at first. I heard the sound of him squirting oil into his hands, rubbing them together to warm it. Then his hands were on my back, and I had to consciously remember to breathe. His touch was firm but careful, his palms spreading the oil across my shoulders and upper back in smooth, even strokes. Let me know if the pressure is too much or too little, he said, and I could hear the concentration in his voice. It's good, I said, my voice slightly muffled by the face cradle. He began working in earnest, his thumbs pressing into the muscles along my shoulder blades, his fingers kneading the tension in my upper back. And here's the thing, despite all my anxiety, despite the complicated feelings swirling in my chest, it actually felt incredible. I hadn't realized how much tension I'd been carrying until his hands started working it out. You're really tight here, he murmured, his thumbs working at a particularly stubborn knot near my right shoulder. Does this hurt? A little, but in a good way, I admitted. That's normal. The instructor said we need to work through the resistance but never push past pain. You'll tell me if it's too much, right? I will. He continued working, his hands moving with growing confidence across my back, down my spine, along the muscles on either side. His touch was becoming more assured, more intuitive. I could feel him learning my body, figuring out where I held stress, where I needed more pressure, where a lighter touch worked better. You know what's funny? He said after a while, his hands working rhythmically across my lower back. I was actually really nervous about asking you to do this. Yeah, I said, surprised. Jake never seemed nervous about anything. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I worried it would be weird or you'd think it was strange. But you're the person I trust most, you know? I knew you'd be honest with me and not judge if I was terrible at it. Something in my chest tightened at his words. Trust. That's what this was about for him. Meanwhile, I was lying here trying not to think about how good his hands felt, how intimate this was, how much I wished it meant something different than what it did. You're not terrible at it, I said quietly. Actually, you're really good. Really? I feel like I'm kind of fumbling around. No, seriously, this feels amazing. I didn't even know I was this tense. I could hear the smile in his voice. Good. That's good. Okay, I'm going to move to your lower back now. This is supposed to be where a lot of people have issues. His hands moved lower, his thumbs pressing into the muscles on either side of my spine, working their way down. The towel was draped across my hips, and I was acutely aware of how close his hands were getting to that boundary, how intimate this position was. Face down, vulnerable, his hands on my body, the two of us alone in his bedroom with soft music playing. So, I've been meaning to ask you something, Jake said, his voice casual, but with an edge of something I couldn't quite identify. And feel free to tell me to mind my own business. Okay, I said cautiously. You never really talk about dating, like, ever. And I know you're a private person, but I realized the other day that in all the time we've been friends, you've never mentioned anyone you're interested in or seeing or anything. Is there someone? Are you seeing anyone? My entire body tensed under his hands, and I knew he felt it because his movements paused for just a second before continuing. No, I said carefully, not seeing anyone. But there's someone you're interested in. This was dangerous territory. I could feel my heart pounding, wondered if he could feel it too through my back. It's complicated. Complicated how? His hands kept working, moving back up to my shoulders, and there was genuine curiosity in his voice, not judgment. Just Jake being Jake, caring about his friend's life. I closed my eyes, grateful he couldn't see my face. Just, sometimes you're interested in someone who's not available, or not interested back, or both. That sucks, he said sympathetically. Is it someone at work? Can we not talk about this? I asked, trying to keep my voice light. I'm supposed to be relaxing here. Right, sorry, I didn't mean to pry. I care about you, man. I want you to be happy. You deserve someone great. The sincerity in his voice made my throat tight. Thanks, I managed. He continued the massage in silence for a while, and I tried to focus on the physical sensations, the release of tension, the warmth of his hands, rather than the emotional chaos in my head. But then he spoke again, his voice quieter, more hesitant. Can I tell you something? And this stays between us? Of course. I broke up with Emma. Emma was the girl he'd been seeing for the past month or so. I'd met her once, briefly. She seemed nice enough, pretty, into Jake. I'd assumed it was going well. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened? His hands paused on my back, and I could feel him thinking, choosing his words. I don't know exactly. She's great, really. But something wasn't right. I kept feeling like I was going through the motions, like I was doing what I was supposed to do, saying what I was supposed to say, but none of it felt real, and that's not fair to her. That makes sense, I said. Better to be honest than to string someone along. Yeah. His hands started moving again, but there was a different quality to his touch now. Less clinical, more thoughtful. The thing is, this keeps happening. I meet someone, we go out, it's fine, but then it just fizzles. And I started wondering if maybe there's something wrong with me, like maybe I'm broken somehow, or maybe I don't know what I'm actually looking for. You're not broken, I said firmly. Sometimes it just takes time to find the right person. Maybe. He was quiet for a moment, his hands working along the sides of my ribcage now, a touch that felt almost too intimate, too personal. Or maybe I've been looking in the wrong places. Something in his tone made my breath catch. There was a weight to those words, a meaning I didn't dare interpret. The air in the room felt thicker suddenly, charged with something unspoken. Okay, I'm going to work on your arms now, he said, his voice returning to that professional tone. Just let them hang naturally off the sides of the table. I did as he instructed, and his hands wrapped around my right arm, working the muscles from shoulder to wrist with long, firm strokes. Then the left arm, the same, careful attention. Every touch felt deliberate, meaningful, like he was learning more than just massage technique. How does that feel? He asked. Really good, I admitted, and it was true. Whatever tension I'd been carrying had melted away under his hands, replaced by this warm, languid feeling that was both deeply relaxing and somehow electrically aware. Good. Okay, now I'm supposed to do legs too, but I don't know if that's weird. It's fine, I heard myself say. This is for your class, right? You should practice everything. Right, okay. His hands moved to my calves, working the muscles there with the same careful attention he'd given the rest of my body. Then up to my thighs, and this was definitely more intimate. His strong hands kneading the muscles of my upper legs, his fingers pressing and releasing, working out knots I didn't know I had. I was grateful for the face cradle hiding my expression because I wasn't sure I could keep my face neutral anymore. You know what I realized during this course? Jake said, his voice thoughtful. Touch is really powerful. Like, we don't think about it much in our daily lives, but human contact, intentional touch, it communicates things that words can't. The instructor was talking about how massage isn't just physical, it's emotional too. It's about trust and vulnerability and connection. Yeah, I managed, my voice rough. I can see that. When I put my hands on you, I can feel everything. Not just the muscles and tension, but like, I can feel you. Does that make sense? I think so. His hands had stilled on my thighs, just resting there, warm and present. I can feel you holding your breath right now. He was right. I hadn't even realized I was doing it. I exhaled slowly, trying to release the tension that had crept back into my body. Sorry, I said. It's a lot. Too much? Do you want me to stop? No, I said quickly. No, it's not that. It's just intense, I guess. Intense how? This was it. This was the moment where I could keep pretending, keep hiding, keep protecting our friendship and my secret. Or I could be honest. And maybe it was the vulnerability of the position I was in, or the intimacy of the past hour, or the gentle curiosity in his voice, but something in me cracked open. Jake, I said quietly, there's something I need to tell you. His hands stayed on my legs, steady and warm. Okay. The person I'm interested in, the complicated situation I mentioned. It's not someone at work. Well, it is, but not in the way you think. I took a breath. It's you. The words hung in the air between us, and for a moment, everything was completely still. His hands didn't move, and I couldn't hear him breathing. I'd done it. I'd actually said it out loud. And now our friendship was probably over, and I'd have to find a new job, and I'd spend the rest of my life regretting this moment. But then his hands moved, sliding up from my thighs to my lower back, and his voice when he spoke was soft, almost tender. I know. I tried to turn my head, to look at him, but the face cradle made it impossible. What? I know, he repeated. I've known for a while. The way you look at me sometimes when you think I'm not paying attention. The way you tense up when I touch you casually. The way you never talk about anyone you're dating. I'm not as oblivious as you think. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might break through my chest. And you still asked me to do this? Why? There was a long pause, and then I felt the table shift as he moved, and suddenly he was leaning over me, his mouth close to my ear, his breath warm against my skin. Because I wanted to touch you, he said simply. Because I've been trying to figure out what I'm feeling, and I needed to know if touching you would feel different than touching anyone else. And it does. It feels completely different. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Jake, I don't understand. You're straight. Am I? He asked, and there was a vulnerability in his voice I'd never heard before. Because straight guys don't spend all their time thinking about their male best friend. They don't make up excuses to spend time alone with him. They don't lie awake at night wondering what it would be like to kiss him. They don't sign up for massage courses just to have a reason to put their hands on him. The world tilted on its axis. You, what? Turn over, he said softly. Please, I need to see your face. With shaking hands, I shifted on the table, turning onto my back. Jake was standing beside the table, looking down at me, and his expression was open, nervous, hopeful, scared, all at once. The golden afternoon light caught in his hair, and he'd never looked more beautiful. I don't know what I am, he said, his hand coming to rest on my chest, right over my racing heart. I don't have it all figured out, but I know that what I feel for you is different than anything I've ever felt before. It's real in a way nothing else has been. And I'm terrified, because I don't want to lose you as a friend, but I'm more terrified of never knowing what this could be. Jake, I breathed, covering his hand with mine. Are you sure? Because I can't. I can't do this halfway. I can't be your experiment or your curiosity. You're not, he said firmly. You're not an experiment. You're the person I trust most in the world. You're the person I want to talk to about everything. You're the person who makes me laugh, who challenges me, who sees me. And yeah, you're also the person I can't stop thinking about, the person I want to touch, the person I want to kiss so badly right now, I can barely stand it. Then kiss me, I whispered. He leaned down slowly, giving me every chance to change my mind, to stop this, but I didn't want to. I'd spent months pushing these feelings down, and now they were flooding through me like a dam had broken. When his lips finally met mine, soft and uncertain and perfect, something in my chest unlocked. The kiss was gentle at first, exploratory, both of us learning this new language. But then it deepened, his hands sliding into my hair, my arms wrapping around his neck, pulling him closer. He made this small sound in the back of his throat, and it undid me completely. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. "Wow," he breathed. "Yeah," I agreed, unable to stop smiling. "Wow. I'm sorry I took so long to figure this out," he said. "I'm sorry if I hurt you by not seeing it sooner." "You're seeing it now," I said, cupping his face in my hands. "That's what matters." He kissed me again, and this time there was no hesitation, no uncertainty. This was Jake kissing me like he meant it, like he'd been wanting to do this as long as I had. His hands roamed over my chest, my sides, relearning my body in a completely different context, and I let myself touch him too, finally, after months of careful restraint. "So," he said eventually, pulling back just enough to look at me, his eyes bright and happy. "I'm thinking maybe I need a lot more practice, this massage thing. What do you think?" I laughed, the sound bubbling up from somewhere deep and joyful. "I think that sounds like an excellent plan. Very thorough, very professional." "Completely professional," he agreed, grinning. "Though I should probably warn you, I might get distracted. I might have to kiss you in the middle of it." "I think I can live with that." He helped me sit up on the table, and then he was standing between my legs, his hands on my waist, and we were eye to eye, and everything felt right in a way nothing ever had before. "Are you scared?" I asked him softly. "Terrified," he admitted, "but also really, really happy. Is that okay?" "That's perfect," I said, kissing him again because I could, because he wanted me to, because this was real. "We'll figure it out together." And we did. It wasn't always easy. Jake had to work through his own internalized assumptions about who he was and who he could love. We had to navigate telling friends, dealing with reactions, figuring out what we meant to each other. But through all of it, we had that foundation of friendship, of trust, of really knowing each other. That first night, we didn't leave his apartment. We ordered pizza and talked for hours, lying together on his couch, him playing with my hair while I traced patterns on his arm. We talked about all the moments we'd both been too scared to acknowledge, all the almost touches and loaded glances and conversations that meant more than we'd admitted. We laughed at how oblivious we'd both been, how much time we'd wasted being afraid. "I really did sign up for that massage course to help my mom," he told me at one point. "But then when I realized I'd have to practice on someone, you were the only person I wanted it to be. And I told myself it was just because I trusted you, but deep down I knew. I knew I just wanted a reason to touch you." "Best excuse ever," I said, kissing his shoulder. "Right? I'm actually pretty brilliant when you think about it." "So humble too." He laughed and pulled me closer, and we stayed like that until the sun set and the room grew dark around us, just holding each other, learning what it felt like to finally stop hiding. The massage table stayed set up in his bedroom for weeks after that, though we definitely didn't use it for its intended purpose most of the time. It became this inside joke between us, this symbol of how sometimes the most unexpected moments can change everything. Looking back now, I can see all the signs that were there, all the ways Jake was trying to figure himself out, all the moments where our friendship was already becoming something more. But I'm glad it happened the way it did. I'm glad we had that foundation first. I'm glad he took the time to be sure, and I'm really glad he asked me to help him practice. Because that afternoon, with his hands on my back, and courage finally overcoming fear, we both discovered something we didn't know we were looking for. We found each other, in the most unexpected and perfect way possible. And every day since then has been an adventure in learning what it means to be loved by someone who sees you completely and chooses you anyway. Jake still takes classes sometimes, still has that drive to learn and grow, and I still help him practice whenever he asks. But now, when he puts his hands on me, there's no pretense, no careful professionalism. There's just us, learning each other over and over again, finding new ways to communicate trust and love and belonging. Sometimes, the best things in life come from taking a risk, from being vulnerable enough to say yes, even when you're scared. That Saturday afternoon, I said yes to helping a friend, and I ended up finding everything I didn't know I needed. And it all started with a simple request and the courage to finally stop hiding from what my heart had known all along. Total char count, 24,847.